our day started. First of 4 games on BTN today, and 4 of the 10 we have for you as you take a look again at the T-Mobile starting lineups. Key matchups there with Ethan Happ, the centerpiece of this Wisconsin offense, and that great backcourt of Anthony Cowan and Kevin Huerter. Time now to check in with the third member of our team, Mike Hall. What do you have, Mike? Great to see you in New York City, my friend.
Great to see you as well. But, you know, one of those names on there is Brad Davison. And Brad's been making a name for himself of late with Wisconsin. The last time these Badgers took the court, his shoulder, which has been dinged up throughout the year, got hit once again. He had to leave. A doctor ends up popping it back into place. But he's out for only 23 seconds of game time because he ends up sprinting back in. Doesn't even check in with Greg Gard, just checks into the game. Sure enough, he goes out and scores a career-high 30 points. He is a freshman point guard who's learning the position, and he had only 8 turnovers the entire month of February. Brian, it's kind of a microcosm for this team. Slow at the start, but picking it up as of recently.
And if there are any freshmen out there, incoming freshmen, that think they're going to go straight to the scorer's table next year, for any coach in collegiate basketball, think again. He's earned his right, and Brad Davison is a very interesting player to watch. We're ready to go. Let's tip it off. Maryland and Wisconsin. The winner will take on the top seed Michigan State in the quarterfinals tomorrow. Happ and Fernando tip it, and it'll be controlled by the Badgers.
Tchaikovsky drawing the initial defensive assignment on Ethan Happ, backing off because they know he's not a threat. You can't get too close to him because of his ability to get to the rim and complete.
Lee Ford gets off the first shot. It's always interesting when you get into a scenario in this venue, Madison Square Garden. Those who have not played here before, and these two teams have a lot of experience in this venue, but to shake off those nerves in the world's most famous arena is always a fascinating watch. Fernando kicks it to the corner. Nice bullet pass. Cowan gets off the first shot. Cannot hit. There's Happ with the rebound.
You mentioned the environment. Also, this is a pro arena, Brian, so the rims are calibrated a little bit differently. Sometimes shots will bounce out a little bit farther off a miss than usual.
Brevin Pritzel knocks down his first shot. This is a player for Wisconsin who's really gotten it going over his last 6 games. And typically the story for the Badgers, outside of Davison and Happ, the group of the others, if they perform well, they've got a chance to advance. Pritzel would be in that group. Huerter misses from 3.
Pritzel really got it going on the road at Illinois. He'd been struggling shooting the basketball, kind of got himself involved by diving on the loose ball, saw the ball go through the rim with a couple of free throws, and since that period of time, 6 games ago, over their last 6, they've gone 4-2. A big reason for that has been the production of Pritzel from deep, 50% conversion rate from behind the arc.
Here's Davison running the point, the true freshman, dumps it into Happ. Closed down quickly there by Tchaikovsky. And Maryland on the move here in transition. Cowan, dynamic, goes to the basket. Nice and easy to the rim with a crossover.
Nice job by Cowan of attacking the backpedaling defender, Brad Davison. And even though it's a nice day out, Brad Davison just got windburned as Anthony Cowan turned the corner.
Maryland 19-12 during the regular year. They finished 8-10 in conference play. Did not have a good showing in their last matchup of the Big Ten Conference against Michigan. They lost that game 85-61 on Saturday. Been sitting on that loss for 4 days preparing for this matchup. Happ gets deep and gets it off just in time to score.
Outstanding footwork. He wanted to go completely to the left, and Fernando, an unusual look from the double. He came as another big to double to help out Tchaikovsky, but the footwork of Happ paid dividends.
Huerter gives it up. Look out below. Bruno Fernando with a throwdown. Great setup by Huerter. One of the more ferocious dunkers in the Big Ten and all of the country. Bruno Fernando, this dynamic freshman from Angola. Pritzel gets it deep, swatted away. Here's Davison launching. And it's cleared away. Orcel up ahead to Huerter. Cowan always on the move, gets to the rim, a little spin, and gets it to go. Pretty.
Nice job by driving by Cowan, but it was a small thing, but an important thing, Brian. Tchaikovsky got just enough of Happ, kind of sealed him off there, not allowing Happ to come over and actively contest.
That is going to be a matchup to exploit all day long, Maryland and their backcourt, especially with Cowan with the ball in his hands. There is not a Badger that is quick enough to stay with him. Davison, little step back, long two is good. Davison is coming off a 30-point game against Michigan State as the Badgers get the turnover. 30 points for Davison on Sunday against Michigan State. He scored 23 of those in the second half, and a lot of those, as Mike mentioned, coming after he had his shoulder pop back into the socket.
Well, Brian, you could tell Maryland really wants to push the pace. They want to kind of put their will on Wisconsin and get up and down the floor, get into that bench a little bit.
Substitutions coming for both coaches. Here's Herder, little step back, 1-foot footer. Oh, he's got a sweet stroke.
That is so difficult to defend because at 6'7", he can get to the rim and finish over you. And the ability to put the ball on the floor for multiple dribbles with either hand, very impressive for the sophomore.
Herder's got a nice streak going, 25 straight games in double figures, averaging 14.6 per game. He and Cowan, their top two scorers. Davison drawing the double team and a whistle off the ball. Takes us to our first timeout.
Ethan Happ, first team all-conference by the media. Excellent footwork, able to spin away from the unusual double team coming from a big.
Manhattan, Times Square. Just a few miles from there at Madison Square Garden. We welcome you at Big Ten basketball tournament. 8-7 our score. Anthony Cowan, Maryland's top scorer and top assist man. And the Badgers get the ball out of the timeout. It is Davison who catches it in the paint.
Nice job. That's a tip of the hat to the old swing offense where you invert. You put the guard, Davison, down on the block, able to take advantage of the size mismatch with Cowan coming out of the dead ball.
Here's Herder looking for Fernando. Active hands inside. Charlie Thomas deflected that pass. I think Fernando had bad intentions on that one. He was looking for another big dunk. Good defense by Thomas.
And Brian, Charlie Thomas is going to have an impact on this ball game because of the physical presence that Maryland can put out there, especially in the form of Fernando. Reavers is going to be a nice player, but physically he's not ready to match up with Fernando right now.
Nate Reavers and Thomas checking in. And here's Cowan. He springs free from Davison. Can't hit. Back tap by Herder. And Wiley will get it started again.
And then you saw the calibration of that rim. Look how far that bounced out. That would not have happened in Madison.
Cowan's in traffic, runs into a wall, touched last by a Badger, and that'll be Maryland ball. Jared Nickens getting his first run for Maryland, the senior. So early substitutions, and on both sides offensively, teams able to impose their will. Badgers using their size advantage, as that's going to be a turnover, a foul, as Bruno Fernando hit with the offensive foul, and Mark Turgeon goes back to his bench. Michael Tchaikovsky will check in for the big man. Daryl Morsell returns as well. Quick breather for Cowan, who plays a lot of minutes for Maryland. Both of these teams know they are prepared for the long run here. You take it one day at a time, the old cliche, but they also know in order to make the tournament, most likely, it's going to take 4 wins in 4 days. I'm talking about the NCAA tournament. You're going to have to probably win this Big Ten tournament to get there. With the shot clock down, that is out of bounds, just grazed the rim. Davison comes up empty, and it'll be Maryland ball. And 14-15 left in the first half.
Sorry, Brian, you knew it was going to be a short stint on the bench for Ethan Happ because without him in there, there was really nothing going inside. As a result, Maryland defensively was able to keep Wisconsin exclusively on the perimeter. So you've got to get Happ back in there to give a viable inside presence. And you can also take advantage now if you are Wisconsin on that end of the floor with Fernando on the bench and his shot blocking ability.
Herder kicks it. Three-pointer in and out by Nickens. One and done. Wisconsin very good rebounding the basketball typically. And they're covering up the misses thus far. Reavers inside to Happ. Working on Tchaikovsky. Goes with the scoop with the right hand. Wow.
Wonderful sequence all the way around. Happ showing his versatility, the ability to bring the ball up, then the hard cut from one block to the other, able to get in front of the defender. Then it's a mismatch. Wonderful job by Happ all around.
Happ last year, 3rd-team All-American, 1st-team All-Big Ten. Earns that honor again this year. Shooting woes continue. Herder runs it down. Nickens pulls. Too strong. Yikes. Britzel with his head up. Badgers don't run a lot. Not a lot of transition opportunities. trailer.
He got away with the push. Cap did.
Reavers this time, the freshman. Tough shot. Got it. Well, so far, Sean, the others of the Wisconsin Badgers, the non-Hat, non-Davison company, they're playing well. Fritzl's already hit Reavers. And now Davison will get called for the foul. He was looking for a charge. That'll be a block on Davison.
And a nice adjustment by Maryland. They've kind of fallen in love with that distance shot after the ability to get to the rim, especially with Cowan, had paid dividends for them here. They go back to attacking off the dribble, and you see Davison, you don't have to be completely set, but he hadn't squared up. Pretty good call by the official there. Nice job by Morsell at putting the ball on the floor and making the decision possible for the official.
Greg Gard will give Davison a breather. They'll lean forward back on the floor. Herder sits for Maryland. Wiley, little step back. Nice. Rattles it home. Dion Wiley.
And it started with dribble penetration. Even though he didn't turn the corner, go all the way to the rim, it was his ability to get in the lane with that dribble. It's paid dividends for Maryland. They're the mid-range jump shot.
Good to see Wiley back. Knee injury last year. Missed some games as a sophomore. Took the red shirt. On the mid stage here. Iverson had it blocked by Morsell. Cowan running the show. Iverson is on Cowan. That's a key matchup for Greg Gard, putting the much taller and probably the best athlete in Iverson on Cowan. He goes right by him. Morsell to the hole. And Iverson pulls down the board.
And Obi in there right now for Maryland for one reason. That's to try to wear down Hap on the defensive end of the floor. He's not in there to score. Just provide some minutes and maybe provide some attrition as this game goes on Ethan Hap.
Here's Hap. Obi on him. Looking for a double team. Oh, Hap just bullies his way in. No basket. That's a travel. And the Badgers turn it over. New York City, the site. Big Ten country this year. Maryland and Wisconsin were underway in the Big Ten tournament.
Jim and Corey here. And you guys live in Minnesota, so that's a long way away. What made you want to come here?
Well, this is Madison Square Gardens. We've watched basketball for a long time, and we're looking forward to an opportunity to come here and watch our son play. Can't wait. This has been great.
How excited is he to play in this building?
Very excited. He made a few shots down there, looked up at us with a big smile on his face. You know he wants to be here. Yeah, it's cool.
Any other New York things you guys are doing while you're here?
We haven't figured that out yet. We'll see how these guys do and make our plans from there.
We'll just keep winning. You can do this every day, right?
That's right.
All right, Brian?
All right, thanks, Mike. And as we all know that parents agonize watching their kids play, especially on a stage like this. Big block underneath for Wisconsin. Well, Davison named to the Big Ten's all-freshman team. He averaged over 12 points per game in the regular season. Second highest mark of any freshman in the conference. Trent Frazier led the Big Ten in freshman scoring. Terrific guard out of Illinois, averaged 12.5, but that's a pretty terrific unit right there. And Davison might have had the most impact as far as a team with all the injuries Wisconsin had. Where would they be without him taking over at the point guard position?
And as a freshman, really doing a nice job defensively as well.
Wisconsin up 13-10. First game of our quadruple header on BTN. Shot clock ticks down. Hap misses. Iverson flying high, and then a putback.
That is how you rebound in traffic, Brian. Two hands and the athleticism to explode back up and not bring the ball down. Very impressive play by Iverson, who also has a defensive challenge trying to keep Cowan in front.
Yeah, they moved Davison off Cowan. Iverson did not score in their last game against Michigan State, but he is responsible for guarding the best offensive player typically. Hap switches over on Herder. Herder goes to work. Shot clock to 1. Herder gets one up. Oh, right through the net. Kevin Herder. This is a program with a very bright future in Maryland. Disappointing season at this point at 8-10 in conference, but a key loss for Maryland, losing Justin Jackson. Even Bender as well is out. But this is a team with freshmen and sophomores that are contributing in a major way this year. Sets up well for Mark Turgeon for years to come.
Justin Jackson, before that shoulder injury, averaging about 8 rebounds per ball game. He's in that sophomore class with Cowan and Herder. They also lost another valuable big, and even Bender, who was giving them some quality minutes along that front line. So they had even more depth along that front line before those injuries bit them.
Well, Jackson relegated to cheerleader notice right now as Davison hits the jumper, and it's a 5-point Badger lead.
I try to get the ball right back to Herder. Now he can take Davison down on the block if he wants.
And Herder goes right by him, rises up, back iron, Pretzel with a rebound. All the way, the scoop again with a right hand. That's his second of the game. He is so crafty around the basket and can handle the ball as well. He takes it end to end. Cowan up top, and down it goes. Fernando on the setup by Anthony Cowan Jr. That'll loosen those rims up a little bit.
And then
at least on this side. 2 thunder jams by Bruno Fernando. Iverson. Wiley on him. Double team comes. Davison open for 3. On the ground he goes. He and Cowan collide. Charlie Thomas pulls down the loose ball.
Davison's willing to give up his body, gets his team an extra possession.
5-second call. Going the other way. It'll be Maryland ball.
Ethan Happ getting Bruno Fernando out of his comfort zone, able to intact that inside foot and turn the corner. And Bruno Fernando doesn't just turn the corner, he erases the corner on the lob pass from Anthony Cowan at the rim. Cowan showing you why he averages 5 assists per ball game, also leads the conference in minutes per game at 37.
This will be a key window here for Greg Gard. He's going to give Ethan Happ a breather. Charlie Thomas is back in, a big body who can certainly match up with Fernando.
What it also will do is it'll essentially get Happ about 4 or 5 minutes of real-time rest, because if you take a look at the next media timeout, it's at the 8, so really only 49 seconds, maybe plus or minus a couple before Happ will be back in.
Right away, you can tell in this game, Maryland has a major mismatch with their guards. Cowan and Herder are in another gear compared to the Wisconsin defenders. Davison gets by, denied. Rejection. Fernando sends it into the cheerleading section. And the Badgers have the ball with 11 on the shot clock.
Nice situational substitution. You sometimes see this toward the end of ball games. But first, you're going to see Bruno Fernando erasing an opportunity. You usually see these situational substitutions, defense for offense, toward the end of ball game. Here, with the 8-minute mark, you get Thomas out on the offensive end to get Happ back in.
Yeah, Happ right back on the floor. And a hot pass, nice catch by Iverson. Iverson goes up strong. Happ keeps it alive. And a new 30 for Wisconsin. Pretzel will pull a 3. Comes up short. He hit his first one. Maryland on the move. Cowan's got Herder on the wing. Badgers get back well in defensive transition. That is a staple of their program. Hard to get the easy baskets against Wisconsin. That was poked out of the hands of Herder. He's calling for a foul. So the defense of Wisconsin turning into a possession. Next whistle will have a timeout. Good start to this one. Good action early. 19-16 Badgers. The 9 seed. Here's Reavers for 3. And Happ. That's going to be out of bounds. No foul. Out of bounds off of Happ. Maryland ball. Timeout on the floor. The Badgers, the 9 seed. Maryland, the 8 seed. The winner will take on Michigan State here in New York City tomorrow.
All right, we keep getting good looks at a great cut. Just got to keep working, keep working, keep working, keep working. Okay? Let's go 2 out again. I like 3 game. I like 2 out. I like passing game. I like everything we're doing. Okay? Defensively, I want to control it a little bit more. Okay?
Really pleased with their defensive effort, especially the different looks of the double team they've been able to run at Ethan Happ. Obi did a good job of kind of coming in as the primary defender during his minutes in there. And we talked about it at the time. Brian, maybe the ability to wear down Happ as this game goes on.
Shooting not bad to start it. Three-point shooting has been dismal for both teams. Fernando with some footwork, giving Ethan Happ a little of his own medicine under the basket.
And not a lot of room with which to operate down there on the baseline. He really started to play confidently against Mike Watkins a few games ago with his footwork. Outstanding development so far for the freshman.
By the way, prior to that last timeout, it wasn't a simple out-of-bounds call. It was a foul called on Ethan Happ, his first. As guard put Happ back in, leading to the timeout. And that pass is off the foot of Fernando. And that'll reset the shot clock for Wisconsin.
Well, Bruno Fernando does a nice job of getting Happ on his back, turning and facing that little inside pivot. That's outstanding footwork. And the double team's not able to get down there, but really impressive. That's a play, Brian, at the beginning of the year Fernando would not have been able to complete.
Iverson will take a seat. Think about Fernando and his arc out of the IMG Academy. Came there in Florida from Angola. Still learning the game exponentially. And here he is at the end of his freshman year. So much upside and a massive body at 6'10". Fernando on Happ. Happ spins. Half the ball fake. Quick release. Closing quickly was Tomajic. Good help by Maryland. That's going to give the ball back to the Terps. Hey, don't forget, coming up, more excitement here at MSG. Iowa taking on Michigan. 2018 men's basketball tournament presented by SoFi continues today at 2:30 Eastern on BTN. Also streaming live all day on BTN to Go and Fox Sports Go. Brian Anderson, Sean Morris, Mike Hall with you. Great to have you with us. Ryan Carter, our producer, Pat O'Connor directing. And we're at Madison Square Garden, Maryland and Wisconsin, the 9-8 matchup in the Big Ten tournament, happening a week earlier than it normally does. Morsell, shot clock ticks to 1, and a foul with 1 on the shot clock. That'll be on Wisconsin. I think they got Reavers.
That's the second time that Morsell has bailed out Maryland of a stagnant offensive possession. Remember, he got in the lane and knocked down a mid-range jump shot. Here, they did not reverse the basketball. It looked like Wisconsin was going to keep Maryland almost exclusively on the left side of the floor, but they get it to Morsell. He's able to turn the corner, draw the defender, and the lead for Fernando. They're bailed out with the shot clock at 1.
Morsell, a 4-star recruit. Baltimore staying home to play his college ball. Fernando strong in there. Morsell can't get the put back. Fernando pulls it down. Pritzel's on the ground with him. And a held ball. Possession arrow belongs to Wisconsin. I tell you, these two teams are hungry. And both of these coaches have to be pleased with the effort we are seeing early.
Nice activity. And that was courageous by Pritzel.
He's in an awkward position there, isn't he? Nice hand for Bruno Fernando on his way out. Maryland with 2 excellent freshmen in Morsell and Fernando.
And Tchaikovsky back in there. He's the 3rd defender. He started on Happ to start this ball game. Fernando was taking a chore. Also Obi, so that's the 3rd different defender, primary defender Happ has faced thus far.
Aleem Ford with a ball fake, gets the foul. Wiley fouls him. And free throws coming for Aleem Ford. Wisconsin has missed their last 6 field goal attempts. A chance for points against Turgeon's Terps from the free throw line. 2 shots for Aleem Ford. It's another guy out of the IMG Academy, redshirt freshman, a Georgia native. He and Dimitri Trice were teammates at IMG. 2 key losses for Wisconsin. One of the reasons they're in this position is the 9 seed, the loss of Trice and Kobe King. Kobe King with a knee injury, Trice the ankle, and Wisconsin really having to ad-lib at the point guard position. And they've been able to put a little bit of a run here at the end of the season. They gave Michigan State a run in Madison on Sunday. Had a chance to win that game, lost by 5. That secured the #1 seed for the Spartans. Herder draws a double team. Tchaikovsky bangs his way in, kicks it. Wiley can't hit the three, and Hap's there with a board. Three-point shooting has been a problem for both teams. Maryland now 0 for 6 from behind the arc. Badgers are 1 for 7. The lone three was Brevin Pritzel early in this first half. Here's Reavers.
Oof. This is a Union town. You better join the bricklayers if you put something out like that.
1 for 8 now from three-point range, and Cowan gets the foul on Davison. Davison wearing that brace, the support brace on that left shoulder. And Cowan just another blow-by.
The subtlety there was the hesitation, because Davison was in pretty good primary defensive position, but the hesitation dribble got Davison out of his stance just enough to allow Cowan to utilize his quickness.
Brings Iverson back on the floor. Davison out with 2 fouls now. Unlikely to see Davison the rest of the half. Wiley turns a corner.
Nice walling up all the way around team defense by Wisconsin.
Shot clock down to 5. Here's Cowan. And Cowan is going to turn it over. Wisconsin ball. The length of Iverson disrupted Cowan that time. Mark Turgeon, 7th season at Maryland, 20th overall, 3 consecutive NCAA tournaments while coaching the Terps. And they're going to need a run here in New York City to make it 4 in a row. Meanwhile, Wisconsin has 17 consecutive years finishing 4th or higher. That has been snapped. And their streak of 19 straight NCAA tournaments in jeopardy. And an offensive foul is going to give it right back. Timeout on the floor, 3:57. Don't forget, coming up, it's our State Farm halftime report. Dave Revson, Stephen Bardo, Robbie Hummel, and Andy Katz standing by just across the way here at Madison Square Garden. First game of our quadruple header. 21-18, the Badgers have the lead. Maryland ball, and Morsell runs into Reavers, and that's going to be out of bounds off of Morsell. Wisconsin ball.
That was a set play to try to isolate Reavers, and Reavers answered the challenge admirably, moving his feet, and then at the last minute, maintaining verticality and walling up.
Davison on the bench with 2 fouls for Wisconsin. That puts Iverson as the point guard.
Good job, nice help.
And Reavers with the left hand, little turnaround, had a block. Boy, Herter was right on it. Outstanding defense by Kevin Herter. The whistle down underneath.
Got the late whistle on Herter. They'll shoot a couple, but really good job by Herter raking at the ball, and then got just enough of the elbow and the hand before the release. But to your point, Brian, that was the second outstanding defensive sequence by Herter in as many possessions. Before we went to break, he helped on Hampton, was able to get all the way back, and as a result, Wisconsin turned it over.
Herter with his first foul. He's played 15 minutes, has 6 points as Reavers, the freshman, misses both free throws. Wisconsin used a 12-4 run to take a 7-point lead. That was at 19-12. Maryland answered with a 6-0 run. They cut it to 1. Ford's 2 free throws put Wisconsin and their lead back to 3. But the Badgers are 0 for their last 7 as Herter goes high off the window, can't get the bounce. Feels like the dam is ready to break here soon for Maryland. They're getting a lot of good looks.
And I like that sequence. It was time for Herter to get a shot. I thought they might try to get the ball in his hands. They did that, just not able to convert.
Almost 6 minutes without a made field goal for Wisconsin. 0 for their last 7. They've missed their last 7 three-pointers. Hap with a shot clock at 3. Draws a crowd, and Hap misses again. Iverson, the offensive board. He's fouled. It looked like it was on the shot. Free throws coming for Khalil Iverson. He's got a pair.
You mentioned it. Maryland ran 3 different defenders at Hap during that sequence, and of different sizes. Herter's done a really good job of coming down there with his length and forcing Hap to kick it out. Then they ran a smaller guy at him, and Iverson able to bail out Wisconsin on the offensive window.
They get Dion Wiley with his second foul. Well, the action ends. The Big Show takes over. Complete highlights of today's games, post-game reaction, and a preview of what's ahead tonight. It's the Big Show presented by T-Mobile today at 4:30 Eastern right here on BTN.
Now, Van Vliet just checked in for Wisconsin. Shot the ball very well against Northwestern. That's what he's in there for. Defensively, can kind of be a liability. So if I'm Maryland, this might be an opportunity, even though it's Tamias, maybe get him on a post-up and force Van Vliet to defend.
See Maryland, they have been held scoreless for a while now, sitting on 18 points, and Wisconsin has this game going the way they want. Cowan for three, and that is the first make from behind the arc for the Terps.
And it was made possible because Cowan moved without the ball, then able to step behind the screen. Wisconsin not able to get over the top, and Cowan buried it.
Maryland had missed their first 6 three-pointers. First made basket by the Terps in the last 5 minutes.
Anthony Cowan right here. Watch him move without the basketball, and he's going to get just enough of a screen right here. Van Vliet doesn't communicate. Iverson gets caught, and Cowan delivers.
Cowan, a 37% three-point shooter. Their best scorer, just shy of 16 points a game. Aleem Ford lines it up. No. And Fernando pulls down the board. Minute 42 remaining. Cowan, speed dribble, kicks it. Herder for three. Too strong. Tomajic with the offensive rebound. Shot clock didn't reset. I thought it hit the back of the rim.
It did. And I thought I actually saw Lamont Simpson signal to the scorer's table to reset it.
And that was the whistle there. Lamont Simpson, terrific official, stopping play to get the shot clock restarted. So out of bounds, baseline out of bounds for Maryland. Minute 31 remaining in the first half. Winner advancing to take on the top seed Michigan State. Both of these teams know they have to make a full run here in the Big Ten tournament to make their way to March Madness and the NCAA tournament. Cowan with Iverson on him. Pritzel checks Herder.
Good strong, good strong show by Half.
Shot clock to 9. Orcel finds Cowan. Shot clock is deep. Cowan. Oh, and score the basket. Anthony Cowan in traffic. As the shot clock is winding down, I wasn't sure there was a path for him, but he created his own, and the smallest guy on the floor has a chance at three.
Nice little step through, and that's very difficult because you need to release this shot, Brian, before that second foot hits the floor, or it's a walk. And Cowan, the quickness and the creativity by the sophomore, impressive here in the Garden.
Shoots it at 85% from the free throw line. And Cowan with a three-point possession. So Maryland with a 1-point lead on a 12-4 run. Anthony Cowan now with 10 points in 17 minutes.
And Obi back in there again, taking another defensive assignment on Half.
Badgers have been able to muddy up the game a little bit, but Maryland answering the last 2 possessions. Half is pushed.
And a big reason that Maryland's been able to go on that run you just mentioned, Brian. Yes, they've been a little bit more efficient offensively, but it's been this end of the floor because they have run just a different sequence of double teams at half. It's come with another big coming over. It's come with a guard breaking down. It's come sometimes with Herder coming all the way across the floor to give Half something else to think about. So the different looks of that double team starting to pay dividends.
Obi got hit with a foul, which is his second. Half hits the first. Maryland does have some bodies that can give some fouls on Ethan Happ. Happ with just 1 foul. That's always a concern with Happ in foul trouble. He knocks both free throws down. Happ just a 54% free throw shooter. Hits 2 big ones, and the Badgers are back on top. Happ with 8 points, 4 rebounds. Cowan gets by Iverson. Turnover. Lost the handle. Into the hands of Ethan Happ. Greg Gard wants a timeout, and the Badgers will talk it over with 32.6. Had a chance at a 2-for-1 there, but now Greg Gard wants to get a good set with 21 on the shot clock. Sean, the Badgers have not made a field goal since the 9:34 mark of this half. Their points have come from the free throw line. Meanwhile, Maryland has been able to find some success on the other end, namely because of Anthony Cowan.
He set the tone early with his willingness to attack off the dribble. No weak side help as Cowan able to use the left hand. Here he got just enough of a seal to turn the corner. Nice job by Tchaikovsky. And then his most recent completion, serving him well, an 85% foul shooter, created the and one.
Among those Terrapins who win postseason awards, Anthony Cowan, third team All Big Ten. Bruno Fernando makes the All Freshman team, and then Kevin Huerter, honorable mention All Big Ten. Don't forget State Farm halftime report coming your way in a matter of moments. Dave Repson and company standing by. As Maryland and Wisconsin, a low scoring but entertaining first half. Badgers with a basketball. Long drought without a made basket for Wisconsin. Free throws have kept him in the lead. Now Iverson goes. Shot clock at 7. Looking for half inside. Here's Pritzel now. Three-pointer is up. And a three-pointer is good for Brevin Pritzel. The Badgers have 2 3-point makes this half. Pritzel has them both.
The last 6 ball games, he has shot the ball so much more confidently than we saw at the early part of the season. It started with the win at Illinois. Good job by Fernando of forcing Happ out. You see all the attention, and Cowan, not a bad job of being there, but it's the size advantage of Pritzel. The hands are down initially. Cowan not able to recover. If he's a half a step closer, he's going to force Pritzel to put the ball on the floor and really negate his ability to catch and release.
Well, the last time these two teams matched up, the lone appearance of the year between Wisconsin and Maryland, Pritzel, that was his bottoming out portion of the season. He was benched in the second half in that game. At one stretch over 2 games had missed 13 consecutive shots. Not just three-pointers, but shots. Since that time, he's found it. Got to give the kid a lot of credit. Here's Cowan. Speed dribble, draws the foul from Iverson. And Cowan will head to the line with 4 seconds left in the half.
And a nice job by Kevin Huerter of serving as a decoy, Ryan. He was underneath the basket, and you could see that Wisconsin was communicating defensively. They wanted to be aware of where he was. He made a hard circle cut out to the left wing. You saw the red jersey start to shade that way. That allowed Cowan a clearer path to the rim.
Badgers got to feel good about where they are right now in this game. Remember, Brad Davison has been on the bench for the last 5 minutes plus of this half with 2 fouls. He'll come back in with 4 seconds left in the half. Cowan is the top scorer, has 11. He's made both of his free throws thus far.
And Van Vliet on the inside for the Badgers. He will run straight to the corner. Once he inbounds the ball, has it serve as a trailer here to try to get a 3.
Here's Ford, and off the side of the backboard to take us to the end of the first half. Well, from Maryland, Anthony Cowan scores 12 and scored the last 8 for the Terrapins. Ethan Happ, 8 points, 4 rebounds, a big three-pointer by Brevin Pritzel. Hits the first 3 and the last 3 for Wisconsin. And he's got 6. Badgers go 9 minutes and 22 seconds between field goals. And missed 8 straight threes, but they have the lead in a defensive grinder here in half number 1. We check in with Mike Hall. He's with Greg Gard.
All right, thanks. Greg, I saw you talking with the refs just now. What was that about?
We're just talking about where the good places to eat were around here. So trying to get that all settled away.
Fair enough. How about this? You went almost 10 minutes without getting a field goal, and yet you're up at the break. How come?
Yeah, I thought defensively we were pretty good. You know, we need to finish around the rim a little better. Thought we had some good looks from 3. You know, we need to take care of the ball because we need every possession we can get.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Right.
All right, Mike, thanks. Well, this is a Wisconsin kind of game, and they have the lead as they take it into the mud. A low-scoring defensive struggle. 28-26. State Farm halftime report with Dave Repson and gang coming your way next. The Terrapins of Maryland. Brian Anderson with Sean Morris. The first of 4 games today from the Big Ten tournament. And Sean, this first half, I think, for the most part, went Wisconsin's way. Maryland didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but they're right there in there.
And Maryland also didn't help themselves, Brian, because throughout the course of the year, turnovers have been a problem. It has been so far. Their -3 turnover margin on the year. That's right where they're at. It's compounded when you play Wisconsin because there aren't as many possessions.
All right, so just about ready for the second half as we take a look at our Gatorade game leaders. Ethan Happ with 8 points, 4 rebounds. Anthony Cowan scored the last 8 points for the Terps and finished the first half with 12. Finished the regular season first in the conference and second in the country in total minutes. Unlikely he'll be coming off the floor the rest of this game. Let's check in with Mike Hall. What do you have from the Maryland locker room, Mike?
Yeah, I talked with Mark Turgeon just a minute ago. And, Brian, at the end of the half, you said you got a feeling the roof's about to come off because Maryland's getting a lot of good looks. That's basically what Turgeon said to me. I said, what do you need to do about the fact you've only got 26 points? He said, we're going to get hot.
Well, Maryland needs to get hot if they are going to advance in this Big Ten tournament. These two teams are in the position to try to do what Michigan did last year, winning 4 games in 4 days, coming out of the 9-8 game. Michigan was the 8 seed last year, but coming out of this 9-8 game, which means you're going to have to tackle the top seed Michigan State next with a victory.
Not going to be surprised if in this opening possession they try to get a shot for Herder.
One thing of note, in the Greg Gard era at Wisconsin, when Wisconsin has led the game at the half, they are 43-5. 43-5 when they have a halftime lead in the 3 seasons that Gard has been in there. Looking for the lob. Cowan with a catch. Pritzel had a block on Fernando. And as Davison hits the deck, that'll be a held ball. Or did they get a timeout? I beg your pardon.
How about Pritzel, Brian, with the block? I mean, this is a lob, that very difficult catch for Fernando, but because Happ was on the left side of the rim, Fernando thought he would try to shield himself from the shot blocker, but Pritzel would have none of it.
Pritzel blocking Fernando is not a phrase that was in my pregame phrase book. Pritzel's had a nice game. He's got some rebounds. He did a nice job on Herder defensively. Happ deep inside, and then he spins and scores on Fernando. There's a lot in the tool shed of Ethan Happ. He gives you a lot of looks, a tough cover for anyone. Aleem Ford tips it away. Wisconsin in transition, but Pritzel pulls it back. Had a 3-on-2 there.
And another turnover hurting Maryland.
Maryland not biting on the ball fakes. Davison directing traffic. 2 fouls. He sat the final 5+ minutes of the first half. Aleem Ford lines it up and hits a 3. So Ford and Pritzel making the 3 threes, and Turgeon wants a timeout as Wisconsin comes out very well in this second half, and it starts on the defensive end.
Ethan Happ impacts both ends of the floor, but here, watch the footwork. Able to spin, complete with the offhand, and Brevin Pritzel getting it done on the defensive end for the Badgers.
If you're a historian of the game, there's an appreciation for what has transpired and what this building has meant to so many generations, and just the name New York City and Madison Square Garden, you know, there's a spotlight on it, bright lights, big stage, but again, appreciating the history of it and what it's meant to the game of basketball, I think it's pretty special.
Greg Gard commenting on Madison Square Garden and the Big Ten tournament. Its first year here in New York City. Out of the timeout, Wiley scores it for Maryland. You could tell Greg Gard was digging deep into the psychological compartment. Remember, last year was a rough memory for Wisconsin on this floor at Madison Square Garden. They lost in the Sweet 16 in overtime to Florida after being so close to advancing to the Elite Eight once again.
And off the make, Maryland able to extend the defense a little bit and force Wisconsin to burn some clock.
There is a whistle prior to the shot, and that's going to be on Maryland. I think Tomajic gets a call. Last 2 games here at Madison Square Garden for the Badgers have been overtime games. The loss to Florida in the Sweet 16, and then a matchup with Rutgers last year as well, which was a victory. They are familiar with this venue. Now, Maryland is certainly familiar with Madison Square Garden. They've been playing games here going back to 1958. A 12-6 record all-time here. Game number 19 for the Terps program. Good catch by Pritzl. Cowan got a hand on it. Pritzl is fouled.
We saw Davison do it here. It's Pritzl. They understand that they have the smaller Cowan on them. They invert the offense, and Cowan not able to get over the top. You see Pritzl right there riding Cowan up the lane. Cowan trying to deflect it, but gives the contact, and Pritzl will shoot a couple.
Second foul on Cowan. Fernando has 2 as well, picking up 2 early fouls in this second half. And Mark Turgeon's team desperate for a significant win, but they're going to have to pass through Wisconsin to give themselves a chance. As Pritzl hits both free throws, and Wisconsin has opened up a 7-point lead, matches their biggest of the game.
Now they're going to reset the clock because Cowan was letting the ball roll, and 3 seconds went off the shot clock. But Pritzl, for what he's been able to do, he knocked down a couple threes. You mentioned it. I'll tell you what, Brian, the job defensively he did on Herder, he kind of stymied him after Herder was able to get off to a nice start. We saw him rotate over and block a shot at the rim by Fernando. Also chipping in on the glass, tied with Hatt for rebounding honors with 4, and that's coming off a game against Michigan State where Pritzl had 9 carries.
A lot of that defensive effort by Pritzl was with Davison on the bench as Herder delivers. He drills a 3 over Khalil Iverson. That's a big make for Maryland. They started this game by missing their first 6 3-pointers. Maryland now 2 for 9 from behind the arc. Herder has 9. He's made half of his shots. Davison avoids a turnover. Here's Ford now for 3. Front iron. Cowan with the rebound.
And you can see in the last 2 possessions, they've been able to speed Wisconsin up a little bit, get them out of their comfort zone.
Wiley unable to hit. Iverson flies high for the rebound. A little better pace here. This is what Maryland wants. Got a foul on the other end. I think they're going to get Morcell.
Kevin Herder has been held in check, moving without the ball, gets a nice rub screen down there by Fernando. They have to honor Fernando, and I'm not sure when it is, but this will not be the last time that Kevin Herder sees this arena. This guy can play at the proverbial next level.
He's 6'7". He's only a sophomore. He shoots it very well. 42% 3-point shooter this year in his sophomore season.
Can handle it.
Herder checks Davison. And the shot clock at 7. Tough shot. Wow. Davison did that twice against Michigan State when he came back from the injury. High degree of difficulty for the freshman from Minnesota, and Davison has the Badgers back up 6. He has 8 and hit half of his shots. Fernando with half on him. Herder turns a corner, goes right by, and Happ with a foul. Herder went to the other side of the glass. Ethan Happ with his second foul.
And Brad Davison held in check because of foul trouble in the first half. Very difficult shot. The taller defender Herder right there, but Davison, the bottom of the well, 8 points for the freshman.
Iowa dropping 96 points on the Illini, a tournament record for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And so the 5-12 matchup coming up, the second game of our run of 4 today. Thursday action from the Big Ten tournament. Kevin Herder at the free throw line. It's the first one. Don't forget the men's basketball tournament presented by SoFi. 2:30 Eastern for Michigan and Iowa. And all those games are streaming live on Fox Sports Go and BT Indigo. 2 for 2 from the line for Herder. It's a 4-point game. Wisconsin jumped out. There was a 10-2 run going back to their last basket of the first half. That pushed their lead to 7. And now Maryland back within 4. Wisconsin ever patient on offense. A lot of late clock situations. It's down to 3. A kick out. Ford's got to go. Herder with a block. Chance for Maryland in transition. Cowan with Fernando following. Oh, and throw it down. Bruno Fernando running the floor. Set up by Cowan. 2-point game.
And again, it was the length of Herder that made that possible, rotating over in the late clock situation, the deflection, then the kick ahead to count.
Maryland doing their best to try to generate a little pace and tempo in this game. They've been able to do that after that first run and that quick timeout by Mark Turgeon. Happ turns. Happ with the reverse. Can't get the bounce. Fernando with a rebound.
Outstanding footwork, just not able to convert. Nice dig down by Morcell.
Here's Cowan, gets by Davison, and a foul on the freshman. In transition, it ends up as our BTN standout presented by Discover. The big man running the floor and rewarded.
Wonderful job by Fernando. And the completion, that's just something you don't see. A big man that's able to run the floor, and Cowan puts it right where he can do something with it. And Fernando continuing his outstanding performance as of late.
Fernando with 6 points. He's had 2 thunderous dunks in this game. It's the 3rd assist for Cowan. Brad Davison just picked up his 3rd foul, so he's headed to the bench for Wisconsin. And Aaron Maish, number 5 in red, will check in. Nate Reavers on the floor as well. So it's Iverson who guards Cowan. Pritzl has Herder. Inside, Fernando. Morcell lost the handle. He's got the ball handling skills. Draws a double team. Maybe got away with a push off. Reavers passes it up, as does Maish. Now Wisconsin will get it organized. Looking for Reavers. Reavers, little turnaround. Pretty. Nate Reavers.
And that's the 2nd time. Remember in the first half, he caught the ball in the middle of the lane and made a very difficult conversion. So you can kind of see in his body language, he's playing confidently here today.
6'10" freshman. He's out of Lakeville, Minnesota. Wisconsin is very high on Reavers and what his future can be. Fernando bullies his way in, gets his zone, and he's fouled. This will be a big call. Reavers or Happ. It's going to belong to Reavers for Wisconsin.
And Ethan Happ, watch that inside arm. There's a little bit of contact there. That's well, we are on Broadway. Nice little acting there. What do they give out? Tonys? Is that what they give out on
So
Broadway?
glad he didn't blow the whistle right there.
A very difficult shot by Reavers. He's able to back down Fernando and then not allow the freshman to utilize his length with that fadeaway jump shot.
Bruno Fernando at the line for Maryland. Nice little push here by the Terps. After Wisconsin opened quickly in the 2nd half. Morcell will sit. Mark Turgeon goes back to his bench. Jared Nickens on the floor. Tomajic will get a run here as well. And back in the game comes Tchaikovsky. So time for some starters to get a breather. The reserves, the 3 reserves on the floor with Cowan and Herder. Nickens, Tomajic, and Tchaikovsky. Forward pass, good catch. Maish gives it right back. Maryland closes down well. Here's Reavers, passes up a 3. And now a foul. That's going the other way. Offensive foul. Maish trying to seal off Cowan. Gives the ball back to the Terps.
Cowan did a pretty good job of selling that as well. He had a decided size mismatch. And Maish was trying to get some kind of inside position. We saw Pritzl do that to him and Davison earlier. Maish tried to make it a 3-peat, but Cowan able to draw the foul.
Maryland a chance to tie or take the lead. First turnover for Wisconsin since the 4-minute mark of the first half. Cowan gives it up. Shot clock down to 10. Badgers pack it in. Maryland has not shot the ball well from behind the arc. A 3-pointer goes up, in and out. Rebound Tchaikovsky. Pritzl wrestles it away from him.
And that's on Tchaikovsky. Brian, you have to be stronger with the basketball. Once you get your hands on it, you have to put it underneath your chin.
Into the Badgers turnover situation. Just their first in a while, going back into the first half, and a whistle underneath. That's one area in the last 6 games for Greg Gard in Wisconsin that they have improved probably the most. Last 6 games, they've cut their turnovers from 11 a game to 8 a game. And you carve off 3+ turnovers per game. There's a pretty good reason why Wisconsin feels like they're starting to get a little more rhythm with this current group. Ford on the quick release. Comes up short, gets his own. Ford to the rack. Can't finish. Iverson does finish. And he's fouled. Chance at 3. Khalil Iverson cleaning up the glass. Well, the hang time for Khalil Iverson is spectacular.
And this is made possible because of 2 missed blockouts. You've got yellow jerseys reaching for the ball. You have red jerseys pursuing the basketball, Brian, and that's the difference.
Iverson from a standing 2-foot jump takes contact, still able to hang and deliver the basket. Happ will sit. Charlie Thomas is in for Wisconsin. Happ will sit with 2 fouls. 10 points for Ethan Happ, 4 rebounds. And Iverson trying to cap off a 3-point possession. He does so. And the Badgers are back up 5. Iverson with 7, including 5 boards. Morsell looking inside. Fernando. Little turnaround. No. Ball is loose. Ends up in the hands of Ford.
Nice job by Thomas of forcing Fernando maybe that half a step farther out from the block to kind of eliminate his comfort area. Also put him on a bad angle where he couldn't use the window.
That turnaround jump hook for Fernando is one of his go-to shots. Iverson, 5 on the shot clock. He'll pull it. And Fernando clears it away.
Nice job by Morsell of keeping his eyes staring right at Iverson's chest. He didn't go for all the histrionics.
Oh, Cowan! Nifty, the little scoop with the right hand. Well, he gets his shot off so fast. There is so much of Isaiah Thomas in his game when you watch him play. He's small. He delivers the quick release. First points this half for Cowan, who has 14 now. Remember, he scored the last 8 in the first half for Maryland. Pretzel rising up. No. Tobias pulls down the rebound. Maryland, a chance to maybe tie here. Cowan will try to give him a tie. Can't get it to go. Offensive board. Maryland gets a new 30.
Nice hustle in the corner there by Tomic to get an extra possession.
Maryland was 3 for 18 from behind the arc against Michigan on Saturday in a loss. They're just 2 for 12 from 3-point range today. Morsell working hard. Runs into a wall, and Pretzel. Pretzel is sneaky long in the paint.
Good job of walling up, but the other thing he did, Brian, he forced Morsell underneath the basket. He didn't have an angle, so Morsell had to come back into him from almost out of the field of play. Really good job defensively by Pretzel.
Pretzel starting to round out his game. Known as a deadly 3-point shooter out of De Pere, Wisconsin, but his defense and his rebounding have been on display here in the last few weeks. Shot clock ticks again to 2. Reavers hits the iron, gets his own. Reavers no. And it's going to be off of Thomas. Maryland basketball. Timeout on the floor. Good action here in the big city. Afternoon hoops. The Big Ten tournament on BTN. Tapping into the Sean Morris budget for Michael Rappaport. Very well done. Great to have him on our Big Ten tournament. Let's check in with Mike Hall. He was in the Maryland huddle just a moment ago. What do you have, Mike?
Yeah, so the way Mark Turgeon does his huddles is he first meets with his coaches for a minute or so, and then he meets with the players. Well, when he walked out of this huddle, there was a word written on his dry erase board, and it was just rebound, underlined, very simply put. And I've noticed that's what he's been doing in his huddles. There's not a ton of different information. It's just a simple theme every time.
And Mike, a little bit different scenario from the first huddle of Maryland of this half, when he was looking more psychology, looking at the faces of his players. What do you see?
Yeah, he basically yelled at all of them and said, I don't like your faces right now, and wanted better body language from them.
I hear that a lot, Brian.
Hang around Sean long enough. just becomes white noise. Yeah, Wisconsin began the half with a 2-point lead, scored the first 5 points to expand the lead to 7. Pretzel, long three, back iron, and Cowan rips the board down.
Nice contest by Herder getting out there with a hand up.
Cowan put the pressure on all the way in, and Cowan scores in a flash against one of the best defensive transition teams in the Big Ten. Cowan blows by them all.
He is fearless attacking the rim. If you're Maryland, you need to take better care of the basketball. Points off turnovers have hurt them so far.
Maryland gets within a point. They have had a tough time leading in this game. They're playing from behind as Cowan just flying to the rim. And Davison just making sure he didn't pick up his 4th foul.
And that's a smart play by Davison, because to your point, he knows there's a lot of time here. And there was no way he was going to be able to take that half a step over and impede the progress of Cowan.
There'll be a foul on Cowan. Wisconsin went in a long drought in the first half. They did score some points with free throws, but went about 9 minutes between field goals. And they're in a bit of a drought right now. They've missed 7 of their last 8 field goal attempts. Ethan Happ at the line. This will be a 1-and-1. This is going to be 9 minutes and 11 seconds of free throws for Wisconsin already in the bonus. Cowan picks up his 3rd. Happ hits the 1st. Happ is 3 for 3 from the line.
And if you're Maryland, Happ is 3 of 3, but you have to believe that water always finds its level. He's about a 54% foul shooter, so it's really important that Fernando makes sure he pinches down and not allow an opportunity off a miss.
Happ has not missed. 4 for 4 from the free throw line, and Ethan Happ now with 12 points to go along with 4 rebounds. 3-point Badger lead. Maryland with the ball. Morsell on the take. Strong to the basket, the freshman from Baltimore.
You can see what they're trying to do, Brian. They're spreading the floor much like they did to start the ball game. It was Cowan in transition. Here they spread the side of the floor, let Morsell go to work.
High pass from Happ. Reavers can't handle it. That was right at his feet. Turnover, Wisconsin. It's their 5th turnover. As Sean mentioned, the Badgers minimize possession, so the turnover story, you can put an asterisk by both. 9 turnovers for Maryland. That's a pretty significant number when you consider the possessions. Has it blocked. Reavers with Herder on the take.
I tell you what, I've been impressed with Reavers today, because this game has moved at a pretty quick pace, and Reavers has shown the confidence on the offensive end of the floor, and here he rotates over. And the most important thing he does, even though he's a right-handed player, notice that he blocked it with the left hand. He didn't try to come over the top with the strong hand. If he tries to do that, chances are it's an and one rather than a deflection.
Reavers to the bench after that foul. Maryland a chance to take the lead. Been fighting from behind the entire game. Hot pass, good catch. Shot clock at 5. Ford on Cowan. Cowan goes by him. Oh, denied. Ethan Happ with a block. Reavers and Happ with blocked shots. Gives the ball back to Wisconsin. Up a point. 8 minutes left in regulation. The winner of this game will match up against Michigan State, the top seed, in the quarterfinals tomorrow. We'll have it for you right here on BTN. Davison. Davison has it blocked by Cowan, gets his own and cannot get the shot off. And Mark Turgeon is jumping up and down. The Maryland coach loving the defensive effort by Cowan and the Terps.
That's just competitive spirit put forth by Cowan. And you also have some competitive spirit by Player of the Year candidate Ethan Happ rotating over, blocking the opportunity at the rim for Cowan.
And by Discover Card, the official credit card of the Big Ten Conference. Madison Square Garden, New York City, home of the Big Ten tournament for the first time this season. Last 2 years, moving away from the Midwest. Last year in D.C. and here in New York City. It'll return to Chicago next season. 21st edition of the Big Ten tournament. We're glad you're with us on BTN. Good game going here, the 9-8 matchup. Wisconsin by a point. Maryland with the ball. Down 1. Here's Herder for the lead. And Happ secures the rebound.
And they were trying to isolate Herder with Davison, who has those 3 fouls, but because of the ability of Davison to move his feet, he was able to keep Herder in front and force a difficult shot.
Maryland's been knocking at the door, but Wisconsin has maintained their lead. Both of these teams need a run here in the tournament to make it to the big dance. Iverson. Morsell on him. Shot clock at 3. Turnaround. Finds himself wide open, and around and down it goes. Khalil Iverson last year missed the final 2 games of the Big Ten tournament, played in the opener, and he has come back this year with 9 points. He missed those games because of the passing of 2 of his cousins in a homicide in Ohio. So a year later in the Big Ten tournament, he's having a breakout game. That's going the other way. Davison draws the charge. Morsell with a foul, and it'll be Badger ball. Another turnover for Maryland.
Nice job by Davison of moving his feet, and then watch the inside arm right there, and the dropped shoulder draws the attention of the officials and will come the other way. And you mentioned it, yet another turnover for Maryland.
10 turnovers for the Terps. The Badgers have scored 13 points off the previous 9. Again, it's exacerbated because the possessions are limited when you play Wisconsin.
It's kind of like playing their football team, Brian. They have that running game, and they will just grind you up.
Step back by Davison. Can't hit. Ford is there, but out of bounds off of Ford. It'll be Maryland ball.
And Maryland very fortunate there because Ford, they missed that block out, and he, again, pursued the basketball with vigor, just not able to corral it. Maryland fortunate to dodge one there.
Maryland down 3. Terps finishing 8 and 10 in conference play. Just shy of 20 wins, I should say. 119. On the ground, Fernando with Happ on him. Ball squirts free, and Ford's got it. Another Maryland turnover, number 11.
And that's on Fernando for trying to put the ball on the floor out of his comfort zone, and Happ made him pay.
Happ spins away from the double team. And Bretzel got stuck on the ground. A turnover for Wisconsin. Mark Turgeon is as animated right now as we've seen him this year. He's a pretty animated coach anyway, but he's trying to will his team to come back in this game. We're getting into crunch time now with 5.5 left in regulation. I think Turgeon's gassed a little bit.
He's breathing hard.
Hammy's barking.
Got to stretch out.
Herder with 2 on him. Finds the open man. Morsell for 3. No. And a foul on Fernando. Textbook for Ethan Happ. This is going to turn into free throws for Wisconsin. Walling off Fernando.
And that was a foul of fatigue and frustration by Bruno Fernando. He turned it over against Happ on the previous possession, and Happ has inside position. Easy call for the official as Fernando comes over the top making contact.
The Badgers have been in the bonus since the 9-minute mark remaining in this second half. Happ cannot hit. That's the 9th foul, by the way, for Maryland. So 1 more going to the double bonus. And 2 foul shots for the Badgers the rest of the way. Still a 3-point game.
I think Iverson might be a little tired. They can turn the corner with Cowan or Herder. Nice job.
Herder athletic, hanging in the air, scoring on Happ. 1-point game. Kevin Herder now with 13 on 5 of 11 shooting. Badger ball with 20 on the shot clock.
And that's a high-risk, high-reward play by Fernando there, Brian. And what I mean by that is he doesn't get that deflection, and Happ catches that ball in the short corner. He's now put his teammates wearing yellow in a very difficult position because of Happ's ability to put the ball on the deck.
Only meeting of the year. Maryland beat Wisconsin. That was back on February 4th. 68-63 win. Davison trying to split the double team. He's fouled. Tripped by Tchaikovsky. And free throws for Brad Davison. That is team foul number 10. 2 free throws the rest of the way for Wisconsin in the double bonus now.
That was a good job by Davison of understanding what that hedge wanted to do. They wanted to force him out wide. You could see the hedge coming all the way. They tried to cheat a little bit, and Davison saw it and came back over with the crossover.
Davison, an 82% free throw shooter, misses the first. Tomajic in for Tchaikovsky. And Morsell will sit as well. 1 out of 2 for the freshman. Davison with 9. And here come the Terps. Again, a chance to take the lead with a 3.
I think Iverson is tired. He was really gripping his shoulder.
Herder. I don't know if that was a shot pass, but it ends up in the hands of Fernando. And this game is all tied at 47.
He has all the subtlety of a cab driver in this town.
Crowd is up. Fritzl on the take. Two-man game with Happ. Nothing there. Davison gives it to Fritzl. Shot clock ticks. Down inside to Happ. Here's the double team. Happ with the left. No. Tomajic stands tough defensively. And Maryland a chance to take the lead as we go under 4 minutes in New York City. Herder for the lead. No. Happ with the rebound. Maryland has not had a lead since the first half when it was 24-23. Badgers can extend it. Inside, Happ.
Again, Tomajic, wonderful job with the double and recovery.
Boy, Tomajic has given him some impressive defensive possessions here as Fernando is called for the foul. And that'll take us to a timeout. We're all tied at 47. Badger ball.
Well, there's the reason you fear the turtle when it's as big and ferocious as Bruno Fernando. His ability to create around the rim, and Coach Mark Turgeon happy with the effort.
The madness can begin. Welcome to March.
March has arrived, and we are set up for a little madness at the end of this one. 47-47, we're all tied up. A swing moment in this game, Sean Morris. The foul that belongs to Bruno Fernando. And he and Ethan Happ coming together under the rim. What'd you see?
Well, part of watching basketball is enjoying sometimes your favorite snack. Mine happens to be a chicken wing. It belongs in a basket, not on the basketball floor. And I tell you what, Ethan Happ got away with one. And if Fernando's able to stand straight up, that elbow is going to hit him above the shoulders. You might have been looking not at a foul on Fernando, but potentially a look at a flagrant one on Happ. Happ very fortunate there that the call went against Fernando.
Instead, it is foul number 4 on Fernando and 2 free throws for Ethan Happ. He's hit 5 out of 6 from the free throw line. Mark Turgeon and the Maryland bench incensed on that last call. They thought for sure they had an offensive foul going their way. 2 for 2 this trip. 6 out of 7 from the line is Ethan Happ. Crunch time here in game 1 of our quadruple header today on BTN. The winner here matches up against Michigan State tomorrow in the quarterfinals.
I like going into Fernando. You made your point about the foul on the other end. Go inside. I like that.
And Tomajic gets a held ball with Happ. Tomajic has been impressive here in the second half. That looked like a dead giveaway and a rebound for Happ. Tomajic keeps the possession with Maryland on the held ball.
Tomajic on the defensive end of the floor doing a wonderful job. Here offensively, leads to an alternating possession. It'll switch over to Wisconsin now.
Wiley gives it to Cowan. 2:45 left in regulation. Here's Herder now. Herder, the runner, is good. All tied again. Kevin Herder scores at the basket.
Wonderful job of reading the defender. They were so concerned about closing out on the 3. They didn't close out under control. Herder sensed that, able to turn the corner and get to the rim. Points in the paint, a big part of the success for Maryland today.
Ford is fouled. Tomajic will be called for the foul. 4th foul. Joshua Tomajic, a freshman, 6'9", hails from Spain. Part of this young group of Maryland Terrapins. Lean Ford hits the first free throw. Double bonus for Wisconsin. Right now, the Badgers with 20 free throw attempts make it 21, and they've hit 17 of them. And a timeout. Substitutions coming. A break on the floor. Badgers by 2. What a matchup we have here in the first game of the day on a Thursday in New York City. Don't forget, tonight on BTN, 2 more exciting matchups of Wisconsin, who has a couple of fouls to give in this situation. 6 lead changes. Maryland has not had the lead in the second half. All 3 of their leads came in the first half. Huerter stuck in the paint. Little turnaround is good. Kevin Huerter scores again, and once again we are tied.
And the reason he was able to score, they switched Pritzel off him, Brian, and then he was isolated on Davison with those foul situations, and he maintained his composure, didn't panic once he got in the lane.
Huerter's the top scorer for the Terps, has 17. Cameron Davison. And a little step back. Davison. Oh, Davison hits the fadeaway. Wisconsin back on top. Well, he's got a knack at a very difficult shot. He's been making those all year. Back in the hands of Huerter. Davison checks him. Huerter at 6'7", all the way to the rack, getting whatever he wants. Kevin Huerter scores again. Last 3 possessions. He's got 19, all tied at 53.
Davison on the offensive end started this sequence as he's able to create space. Watch the little step back here, creating space. Pretty good job of recovery by Cowan, but he's giving up too much size. You can see the frustration there. And then Pritzel's not the primary defender on Davison. He's done a nice job, and Huerter's able to get in the lane and complete. If I'm Maryland, I continue to ride that mismatch because he can get to the rim. He's shown you the ability to knock down threes. And if you foul him, he'll convert his foul shots. So he's such a difficult matchup. And you're starting to see a little bit of fatigue from those perimeter defenders, and especially Pritzel, who's done a really good job for long periods of time keeping him in front.
19 points. He is our Duluth Trading hardest working player. He and Mark Turgeon go back a few years. Played for Turgeon on the U18 U.S. national team. That was a gold medal team. And Huerter has hit the ground quickly. He started over 30 games last year as a freshman. He has emerged as one of their best playmakers this year. Greg Gard and the Badgers all tied at 53 with the ball.
And Happ has to touch it down on the block with Fernando checking with those 4 fouls.
Pritzel steps in. It's a long 2. Comes up short. Iverson the rebound. Under a minute to go. The winner advancing to the quarterfinal game tomorrow against top seed Michigan State. Davison, short. Happ with the rebound. A third opportunity for Wisconsin. And is it a foul or a timeout? It is a timeout. Wisconsin able to bail out Greg Gard. Turgeon does not like the call, awarding the Badgers a timeout there.
I think he's just as frustrated with their inability to clean up 2 possessions. First, it was on the long shot by Pritzel, which bounces out. That's a long rebound. Then, on the ensuing possession, on the same time on down the floor, they don't put a body on Happ, and he's able to get in there. Offensive rebounding has been a story, as well as turnovers for Maryland, and that is a look of disdain. That has not been the case all year. Coming into this ball game, he is 54% from the line. So rather than give up a one-on-one situation, regardless of where you are in the shot clock, if Happ appears that he has you beat, I play the numbers if I'm Maryland to give the foul.
Yeah, Badgers have a foul to give. And might we see the hack-a-Happ scenario unfold for Maryland here? 2 shots if they foul Ethan Happ. He's been making his free throws today. Wisconsin wanted to use as much clock as they can. Almost a turnover. Davison with Huerter on him. Here's Pritzel now. He'll let it go. And Pritzel hits it. The Badgers have the lead. Brevin Pritzel delivers at the top of the key.
going to get the ball to Herder. I mean, he has been your stalwart here.
Herder has scored 8 of the last 10 for Maryland. First made field goal for Pritzel this half. And Herder lost it. Davison knocked it out of his hands. Happ fouls him. In and out it goes. Free throws for Herder. That was almost a 3-point chance for Maryland.
Not exactly a thing of beauty. Once the shot clock starts to wind down, it's a play on there. Pretty good call. I think the play on, he did not hit the floor with the ball in his hands, and Greg Gard's like, I am very pleased that did not go in.
Puts Herder back to the line. Shot clock is off. 9.2 seconds remaining. Khalil Iverson is being tended to. That's why the stoppage here. Iverson, I don't know if he has a bloody nose or he got whacked on the mouth. Wisconsin athletic trainer Henry Perez Guerra. And so whatever it is essentially putting a little ice on Kevin Herder here before a couple of key free throws. So Iverson is out. Reavers in. Guard countering with some height. And Herder, who has 8 of the last 10 Maryland points, a chance to tie it up once again.
And the delay here is that they're trying to figure out who wants the inside. Happ wants to decide where he's going to block out. And now what you have, this could be to Maryland's advantage, because Happ wanted to stay on the same side of the floor to block out Fernando, not have the freshman Reavers with that responsibility. But now, because the officials stepped in, Reavers is having to check out Fernando.
2 shots. Oh, Herder can't hit the first one. Iverson goes out with a bloody nose, with a bloody lip. Creates a little bit of a delay. Herder misses the free throw.
Looks like a dance line down here.
Terry Weimer continues to place once the shooting team chooses their spot, because they don't have the A spot, you only get the one move. Free throw coming is good. 1-point game. Wisconsin with the ball now. 9.2 seconds left. You figure a foul is coming, which will result in 2 free throws. Pritzel, the best free throw shooter on the floor for Wisconsin. Number 1 in red. They're trying to get it to him. They get it to Davison instead. He shoots it over 80%, and he'll go to the line with a chance to make this a 3-point game.
And a nice play by Davison of not just making himself available, but even though he's 92 feet away from his offensive basket, he utilized the post-up effectively. He got his body between himself and the defender. That allowed the inbounds pass from his fellow freshman Reavers in the comfort zone of an 80% shooter.
2 shots, double bonus for Wisconsin. Davison calmly knocks it down. A freshman. We watch a lot of games. There are a lot of freshmen who don't go for the basketball in a spot like that with free throws impending.
And not just go to the basketball, but demand the basketball.
Maryland takes their final timeout. Make or miss, Maryland's going to have a shot to try to tie or take the lead.
This was the shot that gave the Badgers the lead. Nice job of moving without the basketball by Reverend Pritzel. You had a little bit of misdirection. You get everyone shifting to the right, then you kick it back to Pritzel, who fills in behind Davison, and Cowan again. He's played valiantly here, but you saw his size mismatch become available because Pritzel's able to elevate over the top.
You go back to February 4th. Reverend Pritzel, probably at the lowest point of his collegiate career, was benched in the second half after he did not make a shot and had a costly turnover at the end of the first half against Maryland. And he's pulled it together. His last 6 games leading into this matchup today, he's been terrific. And he hits a huge shot that might be the one to send Wisconsin to the quarterfinal round.
And his performance since that period of time, kind of a microcosm for this whole Wisconsin squad, Brian, because this was a team 19 consecutive years, well documented, going to the NCAA tournament. Unless they win this tournament, probably not going to go there. But Brevin Pritzel, over the last 6 ball games, his team has followed along to the tune of 4-2.
Let's check in with Mike Hall. What do you have, Mike?
The Badger huddle was all about Greg Gard reminding everybody what they have. They said we have a timeout left. We have 1 foul to give. We can't afford a foul on a 3-point shooter, and we can't afford to have an intentional one. But look for them to foul if this does not go in.
One note, if it does go in, it's a 3-point game. Maryland is just 2 for 14 from 3-point range. Big free throw coming. Davison hits them both. And Wisconsin up 3.
You still have that foul to give.
And Davison takes the foul. That is the 5th team foul for Greg Gard and Wisconsin. Maryland has missed their last 5 3-point attempts. They missed their first 6 to start this game.
Now the next common foul, with that being the 6th, if I'm Wisconsin, I'm not going to allow a 3-point offering. You force a dribble or 2.
Oh, Iverson pokes it away. And this is going to do it. Wisconsin is going to advance here. It is a foul with 0.8 left. I thought Maryland was going to let the clock run out. But the foul does come late. Khalil Iverson with a steal.
This is why you assume nothing. Herder doesn't come and meet the ball. You need to shorten that path between the inbounder and the recipient, and turnovers, as they've been all afternoon, a key component for Maryland's woes. That's their 12th, and points off turnovers will ultimately be what dooms the Terrapins.
And Khalil Iverson ices it. Makes it a 2-possession game. And the Wisconsin Badgers are going to advance. This team, the 9th seed throughout the regular season into the Big Ten tournament. Greg Gard and company are getting it together just in the nick of time. And Wisconsin has another matchup with Michigan State. They just played them on Sunday, and they'll do it again tomorrow in the quarterfinals. And meanwhile, for Maryland, a very disappointing end to what has been a disappointing season.
For periods of time, they were able to get the pace where they wanted it, especially at the beginning of the ball game. But turnovers have been a problem for them all year. They were next to last in turnover margin. That, along with points off turnovers, really doomed them here today. You saw some of the inexperience on that last play. You have to execute the little things. They weren't able to do that in critical situations. Conversely, the Badgers were.
Kevin Herter goes for 20 points. Cowan with 16, but the Badgers get double digits out of 4 players. And the Wisconsin Badgers advance yet again. Do they have another March run in them? Tomorrow at noon Eastern, quarterfinal matchup with Wisconsin and the top seed, the Michigan State Spartans. Boy, what a finish. Great way to start the day here. First of our 4 games in the Big Ten tournament. Let's check in with Mike Hall.
All right, thanks. Greg, perhaps the play of the day is at the very end. Khalil Iverson, what'd you make of his steal?
Well, he gets his mouth bloodied up. They have to take him out. Comes back in. He had a rough beginning. First half. I didn't think we did a great job defensively. And for him to come in, he's kind of devolved into our defensive stopper. So for him to come in and get a play like that at the end to seal it up was great.
You know, in a game like this, a close game, every point matters. What does it say that Ethan Happ, who's not a very good free throw shooter, goes 6 of 7 from the line?
Well, nobody's worked on it harder than he has, and obviously him to be able to get in this environment, to knock those down, and us going 20 of 24 was huge. That and only having 7 turnovers, I think those 2 things really were keys.
You know, I know it's been a long, long time since you played Michigan State, but you got them up next. What do you remember about a few days ago?
They're really good. They're really good. Obviously, they got a lot of weapons. We got to get a lot of rest here tonight and get ready for tomorrow.
Congrats.
Thanks, Mike.
Brian?
All right, Mike, thanks. Greg Gard's Badgers gave Michigan State a good run at the Kohl Center on Sunday. A 5-point loss. They'll get to run them back tomorrow.